If you watched our last video, the village movement, the shocking alternative to senior living communities no one talks about, then you already know there's a powerful third option between living alone and moving into a facility. And if you haven't seen that one yet, pause this video for a moment and click the link in the description or pinned comment. It will give you the full picture of why this idea matters so much before we talk about building one yourself. Because today, we're taking the next step. This isn't just about joining a village, this is about seeding your own, starting one, gently, realistically in your own neighborhood. And we're going to walk through a simple 3-step path that can help you plant the foundation of a local senior village group in just 90 days. Now, before you think, oh no, that sounds complicated, let me reassure you. This is not about paperwork, committees, or launching some big organization. This is about beginning small and beginning smart. So let's start with the first step, and it's simpler than most people expect. The first step is to find your 2 or 3. That's it. Not 30 people, not a whole neighborhood, just 2 or 3 others who quietly feel the same way you do. People who want to stay independent, who value connection, and who understand that none of us are meant to handle aging completely alone. You might already know who they are. The neighbor you chat with at the mailbox, the friend from church who mentioned her son lives out of state, the couple down the block who've lived there as long as you have. You don't need a formal invitation, you just need a conversation. Something as simple as, I've been thinking about how we can help each other stay in our homes longer. Would you ever want to meet for coffee and talk about it? That's how this begins. In the first 30 days, your only goal is to have conversations. Sit around a kitchen table, meet at a cafe, talk honestly about what worries you as you get older. Transportation, home repairs, loneliness, medical appointments. Write these things down, not as complaints, but as clues. Because here's what happens when 3 or 4 people speak openly. You start realizing you're not alone in your concerns, and that shared honesty builds trust faster than any formal meeting ever could. During this first month, don't worry about structure. Don't talk about dues or bylaws, just focus on connection. Who would call whom in a pinch? Who has what skills? Who knows a reliable handyman? Who's good with technology? You're not forming an organization yet, you're mapping your circle. And something beautiful tends to happen here. People begin to feel lighter. Even before anything official exists, just knowing there are names and faces attached to mutual support changes the emotional temperature. It shifts from, I hope I'll be okay, to, we'll figure it out together. Now, as you move into the second month, this is where step 2 naturally grows out of those early conversations. Step 2 is to create a simple support rhythm, not a complicated system, a rhythm. Maybe you agree to a monthly coffee morning. Maybe you create a small phone tree so everyone gets a weekly check-in. Maybe you start a shared contact list of trusted service providers. Keep it practical, keep it manageable. In these next 30 days, your goal isn't to expand wildly, it's to strengthen what you've started. If there are 4 of you, focus on serving those 4 well. If someone needs a ride to an appointment, organize it. If someone's overwhelmed by paperwork, sit together and sort it out. You're proving to yourselves that this works. And this is important. Keep everything voluntary and flexible. No one should feel trapped or obligated. The beauty of a village mindset is choice. People participate because they want to, not because they signed something binding. You might also gently invite 1 or 2 more people during this phase, not with a big announcement, but through natural conversation. A few of us have been meeting to support each other as we age in place. Would you like to join us next time? Growth that happens organically tends to last. Now, let me pause here for just a second and say this. If this idea is stirring something in you, if you're starting to picture your own street or building and imagining how this could work, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. Not because it helps us, but because it keeps practical, independence-protecting ideas like this coming your way. The more tools you have, the more choices you keep. As the second month continues, you'll notice something subtle but powerful. People begin checking in on each other without being asked. Someone misses a coffee meeting and another person calls just to make sure everything's all right. That's not supervision, that's care. By the time you approach day 60, you've already planted something real. It may not have a name yet, it may not have a logo, but it has trust. And trust is the true foundation of any village. As your circle starts to feel steady and natural, this is where the third step begins to take shape. And this step isn't about making things bigger, it's about making them sustainable. By the time you're around day 60, you've had conversations, you've shared a few coffees, maybe you've already helped each other in small but meaningful ways. Now the question becomes, how do we make this last without turning it into a burden? Step 3 is to gently formalize just enough. Notice I didn't say turn it into a corporation, I said formalize just enough. What does that mean? It means agreeing on a few simple things. Who keeps the contact list updated? Who coordinates rides if 2 people need help in the same week? How will you communicate? Phone calls, email, a private messaging group? You're not creating layers of rules, you're creating clarity. Clarity prevents confusion, and confusion is what causes many good ideas to fade away. During this third month, sit down together and ask, what worked well over the past 60 days? Maybe the monthly coffee has been the anchor. Maybe the weekly check-in calls made the biggest difference. Keep what works, let go of what feels forced. You might also discuss whether a small shared fund makes sense. Some groups decide to contribute a modest amount each month. Nothing dramatic, just enough to cover printing, occasional shared meals, or small coordination costs. Others keep everything informal and cost-free. There's no single right answer. The key is that everyone feels comfortable. This is also the time when you begin thinking slightly beyond yourselves. Not in a grand way, just thoughtfully. Is there one more neighbor who would benefit from joining? Is there a local church hall or community room where you could occasionally meet if the group grows? But here's something important to understand. Growth is not the primary goal. Stability is. A village is not measured by size, it's measured by reliability. When someone calls, does someone answer? When someone needs help, does help come? If the answer is yes, you're succeeding. And something else tends to happen around this stage. The tone of your conversations changes. In the beginning, people may have focused on worries, falling, illness, driving, being alone. But now, as support becomes real, the focus shifts to possibility. You start hearing things like, I've been thinking about taking that art class again, or maybe we could plan a little day trip together. Support doesn't just reduce fear, it expands courage. Now, let's talk about a common hesitation that might still be sitting quietly in the back of your mind. What if I'm not a leader? What if I'm not organized enough to keep something like this going? Here's the truth. You don't need one strong leader, you need shared ownership. Some people are good at coordinating schedules, others are better at welcoming new members. Someone else might simply be the steady presence who never misses a meeting. Every role matters, and when responsibility is shared lightly among several people, no one feels overwhelmed. You may also notice that your family reacts positively. Adult children often feel enormous relief knowing that you're not relying solely on them or handling everything alone. It doesn't replace family, it strengthens the overall safety net. As you move toward day 90, take a quiet moment to reflect on what you've built. 3 months ago, there may have been only a thought, a question. Now there are names, faces, routines, and shared trust. That's what seeding means. You planted something small, tended it gently, and allowed it to grow at its own pace. And here's the beautiful part. Even if your group never grows beyond 6 or 8 people, you've already changed the future for each of you. You've replaced uncertainty with connection. You've replaced isolation with rhythm. You've replaced, I hope someone would notice, with, I know someone will. As this foundation settles in, there's one more layer to explore. How to protect this momentum long-term, how to keep energy alive without burning out, and how to make sure this village mindset carries you not just through 90 days, but through the years ahead. As your group reaches that 90-day mark, there's a quiet sense of pride that starts to settle in. Not loud or flashy, just steady. You did something most people only talk about. You didn't wait for a company or a facility or a government program to solve the problem of aging well. You planted something yourself. Now, the final piece is about protecting what you've built so it continues to feel energizing instead of exhausting. Because here's the truth, even good ideas can fade if they become too heavy. The goal isn't to create another obligation on your calendar. The goal is to create support that actually makes life feel lighter. So this next layer is about balance. As your village circle continues, keep checking in not just about tasks, but about energy. If someone has been coordinating rides for months, maybe it's time to rotate that role. If the monthly coffee starts feeling repetitive, change the setting. Try a park, try a potluck. Keep it alive by keeping it flexible. The secret to longevity isn't perfection, it's adaptability. And remember, your village doesn't need to do everything. It's not meant to replace professional care if that day ever comes. It's meant to delay crisis, reduce isolation, and create a web of connection strong enough to catch small problems before they grow. That alone is powerful. You may also find that over time, your group becomes known quietly in the neighborhood. Someone hears about it through a friend, a new retiree moves in and asks how you all seem so connected. This is where your mindset matters. You're not selling anything, you're simply sharing what's worked. Several of us check in on each other and help when needed. You're welcome to join us for coffee. That's how villages grow in a healthy way, not through pressure, but through example. And let's talk about something deeper for a moment. There is dignity in planning ahead. There is strength in saying, I want to age with support, not fear. Seeding a village isn't an admission of weakness, it's a declaration of intention. You're choosing community over isolation, preparation over panic, connection over confinement. When you look back at these 3 steps, finding your 2 or 3, creating a simple support rhythm, and gently formalizing just enough, you'll notice something. None of them required special credentials. None of them required a large budget. They required willingness. That's it. Willingness to start a conversation, willingness to ask for help, and willingness to offer it. And those small acts create enormous ripple effects. Imagine this a year from now. Instead of wondering what would happen if you fell ill for a week, you already know who would check in. Instead of quietly worrying about winter storms or transportation changes, you've got names in your phone you can call without hesitation. Instead of feeling like aging is something happening to you, you feel like you're actively shaping how it unfolds. That shift in mindset changes everything. Now, will every group look the same? Of course not. Some will stay small and intimate. Others may eventually choose to register formally, collect modest dues, or connect with broader networks. But all of them begin the same way, with neighbors deciding they matter to each other. If this speaks to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Could you picture starting something like this on your street? Do you already have 2 or 3 people in mind? Share that in the comments. Sometimes saying it out loud makes it real, and your story might inspire someone else to begin. If you found this helpful, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. This space is about protecting your independence, expanding your options, and aging with confidence instead of fear. There are more conversations ahead that build on this one. Remember, you don't need to move to find community. You can grow it right where you are. Small steps, steady effort, shared care. That's how real security is built. Here's to planting seeds that turn into strength, to friendships that grow deeper with time, and to living fully, supported, and connected in the place you already call home.